රැස්විහිදෙන ජීවිතේ.
We must be prepared to face any challenge.
There is no quick fix, but we have to go for a solid.
වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ. Newsfirst YouTube channelය අදම subscribe කරන්න. Newsfirst ජනතාව සමග. ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ. Newsfirst YouTube channelය අදම subscribe කරන්න. Newsfirst ජනතාව සමග.
Kidney diseases have plagued villages of Madukare for many years. For 335 families that once relied on impure water, there's some hope. A water purification project by Gammadda. Gammadda, for the people, by the people.
Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on Newsfirst, where the people come first. You're joining me, Naveksha Gunasekara. Let's start off by taking a look at your headlines.
Ready to listen to protesters, but no room for terrorists, says Prime Minister. Aragale activists manhandled off Sri Lankan Airlines flight. Police order to remove several tents at Occupy Golface protest site. Father-son duo arrested for assault on police officer at fuel queue.
In your top story, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena told Parliament that the government is prepared to listen to the protesters, however will not allow for any form of terrorism to raise its head.
Even though we share opposing political views, we are committed to move the country forward while protecting the democratic parliament system. As the Prime Minister, I would like to re-emphasize that this is the moment for all of us to work together within parliament democracy and the constitutional framework. We hope that all the MPs and groups represented in parliament will act in such a manner given this crisis situation. The financial and monetary crisis in the country has worsened. Both factions in parliament made proposals to change the governance mechanism, and we have initiated the process to adopt the amendments that we can agree on. We have made that pledge to parliament. We also pledged to adopt the committee stage mechanism in parliament. The bridge between the haves and have-nots is widening. This is a serious issue that needs to be given consideration. We need to implement the necessary programs. The rural agriculture communities are the backbone of this country's economy. The government will be inviting investors to invest in Sri Lankan industries. The fertilizer crisis has now been resolved. The gas crisis will be solved soon. The electricity crisis will also be resolved soon. Yet the fuel crisis persists in many areas. We need to join hands to successfully implement the new fuel distribution program. The government is ready to listen to the protests of the people. However, we will not accept a conduct that is similar to acts of terror. The challenges we face is to survive the financial and economic crisis. We hope to seek the support of everyone to find a solution to the issue with international agencies and friendly nations. We invite all MPs in Parliament to join us to bring change to Parliament and governance as well as the economy to move forward.
Vajra Abewardena was sworn in as a Member of Parliament today. He was sworn in to fill the UNP parliamentary seat left vacant after Ranil Wickremesinghe was elected President.
Leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, informed the Secretary-General of Parliament that he will be vacating his parliamentary seat as he has now been sworn in as President. Accordingly, Chairman of the UNP, Vajra Abewardena, was nominated for the newly vacant parliamentary seat. He was sworn in as a Member of Parliament earlier today. Prasanna Ranatunga was appointed Chief Government Whip.
An activist engaged in the Aragalaya people's protest was manhandled and taken off a flight that was ready for departure at the Katunayake International Airport by Sri Lanka police late Tuesday evening. Local and international passengers aboard the Sri Lankan Airlines flight were left shocked over the series of events and expressed their dismay as well.
The police said that 5 rounds of tear gas ammo were found at the suspect's residence in Kotte. It is reported the tear gas ammo had been stolen while police officers were transporting the items in a 3-wheeler in order to quell the protests at Polduwa Junction on the 13th. 26-year-old suspect is being produced before the House-top Magistrate Court today.
Sri Lanka police said that Danis Ali was arrested for storming into the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation on the 13th of July in a violent manner, making a threatening statement live on air and forcing to suspend the transmission of SLRC for a brief period. Sri Lanka police also said that Ali faces 3 charges. An extraordinary gazette was issued appointing secretaries to government ministries. Notably, these appointments are from the Public Administrative Service, except for the Ministry of Defence, where a retired Army General holds the position of Secretary of Defence. For the full list of these ministries of secretaries, log on to www.Newsfirst.lk. Moving on to more local news. A 30-year-old man was murdered in Habaraduwa following a dispute between 2 groups.
Crime Watch.
Sri Lanka police said the man was stabbed in the neck using a knife during the altercation between 2 groups. Police said that a father-son duo who were intoxicated had gotten into an altercation with 2 other men who were from a neighbouring house. A 29-year-old suspect was arrested for the murder.
Crime Watch.
Religious events were organized in multiple areas across the country in memory of the late Mr. Raja Mahendran, the former chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group. Held yesterday and the day before at the Ruanvali Mahasaya in remembrance of the former chairman, late Mr. R. Raja Mahendran.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Surameraya majjapama datthana veramani.
People across the country are organizing various religious ceremonies for the speedy recovery of veteran actor Jackson Anthony, who is undergoing treatment following an accident. One such event was held at the All Saints Church, Boralla yesterday. Artists as well as Jackson Anthony's family were present at the event.
රෝහලේ ප්‍රතිකාර ලබන ජැක්සන් ඇන්තනි සෞහෘදයාට නිවසේ ප්‍රතිකාර ලබන සමන් ඇන්තනි සෞහෘදයාට අපි නිරෝගී සුවය ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
මේ මුළු හදවතින් මේ කියන්නේ අපි බෞද්ධයෝ වුණත් අද මේ
Even though some of us are Buddhist, all of us gathered here in prayer today, among with the priests, praying for Jackson Anthony's speedy recovery. We hope that Jackson will once again be able to carry out his work and be with all of us as he used to.
ඉක්මනින්ම උදා වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Police today have informed the Aragalaya protesters to vacate the premises and remove some of the tents erected close to the Bandaranaike statue.
no protests will be permitted within a 50-meter radius of the Bandaranaike statue. This was following a court order issued recently. Members of the Aragale had informed police that several monks were engaged in religious rituals in the said tents.
අපිට පුළුවන් යන්න බැරි කමන්නේ නමුත් අපි මේ බෞද්ධ රටේ අපිට වික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලාට තියෙන වස් සමාදන් වුණොත් අපිට කොහේ අපි ඔයා හිතන්නේ නැවක එනවනම් නැවක එනවනම් මම මේ කියන කතාව වහන්සේලා යන්නේ නැද්ද අතෙන්ට නෑ යනවා අපි යනවා කියන්නේ මේ ඒක නෙමෙයි මම මේ කියන්නේ අපි මේ බෞද්ධ රටේ හරිද නැවක අපි වස් සමාදන් වුණොත් නැව එනකොට පියර් එකට එන්න කලින් හරිද අපිට වස් කඩන්න නැතුව නැවේ ඉන්න නැවේ වස් සමාදන් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඔබතුමා ඒක අහලා තියෙනවද මම කියන්නේ විනය කාරණා බෞද්ධ රාජ්‍යයකට මේක බෞද්ධ රටක් නම් හරිද විශේෂිත අවස්ථාවලදී වස් කඩන්න බෑ කියලා තියෙනවද තියෙනවා විශේෂ අවස්ථා තියෙනවා විශේෂ අවස්ථාව පොඩ කියන හැමෝටම බෞද්ධයන්නේ විශේෂ අවස්ථාවලදී වස් කඩන්න පුළුවන් වුණා පුළුවන් හරිද මේක විශේෂ අවස්ථාවක්
In news overseas, the European Union members have agreed to cut gas use in case Russia halts supplies, but some countries will have exemptions to avoid rationing. Moving on to more international news, an earthquake has hit the northern Philippines, shattering windows at its epicenter and causing high-rise towers to shake more than 400 kilometers away in the capital of Manila.
The quake struck the mountainous and lightly populated province of Abra on the main island of Luzon earlier today. It was measured at a preliminary magnitude of 7.1 by the US Geological Survey, 7.2 by the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, and 7.3 by the Philippines Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ordered rescue and relief teams to be sent to Abra and is preparing to fly to the affected area. Pictures shared on social media by local officials and residents showed some buildings collapsed into rubble, with others leaning precariously, their windows shattered. Some cars were crushed by the debris and roads were crumpled and damaged. Officials also reported some landslides. There were no immediate reports of casualties.
Ukraine's central bank governor has told foreign media that Ukraine aims to strike a deal for a 15 to 20 billion US dollar program with the International Monetary Fund before year end to help shore up its war-torn economy.
Ukraine faces a 35 to 45% economic contraction in 2022 and a monthly fiscal shortfall of $5 billion and is heavily reliant on foreign financing from its Western partners. A $20 billion program would be the second largest currently active loan from the IMF after Argentina. Ukraine's central bank governor, speaking during his visit to London, also said he hoped to agree on a swap line with the Bank of England within weeks, though he did not specify the amount. Kyiv had already submitted its request to the IMF and was now in consultation with the fund over the new financing that he hoped would provide as much as $20 billion over 2 or 3 years in the form of a standby arrangement or an extended fund facility.
Sri Lanka's former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is set to extend his stay in Singapore. The Straits Times in Singapore reported that his short-term visit pass, which was issued when he arrived here on a private visit 2 weeks ago, has been extended by another 14 days. Moving on to more local news, a father-son duo were arrested for threatening police officers on duty at a filling station in Polgahavela. Police alleged that the suspects had consumed alcohol at the time. The police officer was admitted to the Polgahavela hospital for treatment as he was injured when the suspects forcibly pushed him.
reported that a person had attacked the manager of a filling station in Gothatua as the filling station had run out of petrol. Our correspondent reported that the person concerned also attacked a police officer who was on duty at the filling station. This was the situation after police arrived at the scene. The police said that 2 people were arrested in connection with the assault in the Gothatua area.
The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka ordered to extend the overseas travel ban on former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa to the 2nd of August. The order was made by a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court led by Chief Justice Jayantha Jayasuriya. The bench issued the order when a motion related to a petition filed requesting the court to issue an order for an investigation against the people responsible for the current economic crisis was called up today. Moving on to more local news. The second phase of the Divisavya program to distribute dry rations among families in need was held for the 21st day in the Polonnaruwa district. The program is supported by LOLC Holdings. The program commenced from the Polonnaruwa Divisional Secretariat this morning, and relief packages will be given to 3 designated areas. Essential relief packages will be delivered to 865 low-income families living in multiple Grama Niladhari divisions in the Polonnaruwa district. The Divisavya program aims at supporting low-income families suffering in the face of the economic crisis. In sports news, Dimuth Karunaratne and Dhananjay De Silva helped Sri Lanka consolidate their lead over Pakistan in the ongoing second test at the Galle International Stadium. While Karunaratne departed on a 6-1, De Silva is still unbeaten after scoring his 50.
At the KTN, that's the ready. Cyber Avakashe Kalabana, what Salakuna. News First YouTube channel. අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග. ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන්, දත්ත වැඩියෙන්, සයිබර් අවකාශය කළඹන වුවත් සලකුණ. News First YouTube channel අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග.